he absolutely destroys Meghan Markle. Queen Camilla said that Meghan brainwashed Harry.
And that is why Harry has issued this raging, deranged statement. Harry is so angry. It's my understanding from my sources that Harry's so angry about this book. He hates his family. He hates being a royal. He detests the institution. If that's not somebody that has been brainwashed, someone that's been got at, someone that's been mentally infiltrated, I don't know what is. It's a hostage situation.
You think Starmer's finished now, peppered by Trump?
Yeah, he's absolutely in the pocket of the British Muslim community, which is increasingly becoming a very anti-Israel left-wing bloc. So Starmer, he's annoyed Trump. Trump won't forget. Britain is less safe with this Prime Minister. So Keir Starmer is dangerous. He's a dangerous leader.
Hello and welcome to Daily Expresso. I'm JJ Anisiobi, but more importantly, this is Talk TV breakfast host Mark Dolan. Mark, welcome back.
So good to see you.
You too. I mean, we literally just saw each other on Saturday morning. Woke up next to him. No, I came into your studio.
Long story. That's beer goggles, isn't it?
Buyer's remorse. We've got loads to get through today.
Yeah.
Let's start straight away. Bad news for Harry and Meghan. Yeah. Tom Bower, acclaimed author, he's written a new book. The title is taking up most of the pages, I think. The title's so long. Betrayal, Power, Deceit, and the Fight for the Future of the Royal Family. It's a long one, but he absolutely destroys Meghan Markle. Here's some of the accusations. I want to get your take on this. In the book, Tom Bower says, Queen Camilla said that Meghan brainwashed Harry.
Well, it's true, isn't it? And that is why Harry has issued this raging, deranged statement about Tom Bower, which is so consumed with anger that it demonstrates how Harry knows he's been found out. Harry is so angry. It's my understanding, I'm hearing from my sources, that Harry's so angry about this book. And the reason why is he doesn't like the truth. And Tom Bower, who's the author of this book, and of course he wrote the previous book, Revenge, has got the measure of Harry and has got the measure of Meghan. And Harry has never sued for the previous book, which is full of lots of damning revelations about the couple. And here we go again. So he issues this furious statement, which it's my understanding Harry personally wrote, which is surprising because he's no intellect. Right? Harry doesn't do sentences, right? A wordsmith he ain't. No, I mean, the book's bare, in my view. I think the best you can hope for, he sketched out a few ideas with a crayon. Meghan dictated most of it. But anyway, it's my understanding that Harry was behind this angry statement against the book. And he calls Tom Bower a conspiracist. He's never met any of these people. Well, you don't have to have met these people. It's called journalism. You have your sources. You have your research. Anyhow, so the bottom line is that one of the big revelations is that Camilla allegedly, reportedly said to a friend, Meghan has brainwashed Harry. Well, we know that to be true. We do, because I think that brainwashing is exactly the right language. It demonstrates, by the way, what a wise old owl Camilla is.
Well, it's not very nice, is it? Calling her an old bird.
Well, I will say she's been... yeah. And she can swivel her head. She sees well at night. And she catches mice. But... apart from that, and excellent plumage. The bottom line is she's just been around the block a few times, and she knows a grifter when she sees one. Camilla, listen, Camilla's not perfect, right? She was the other woman in Charles and Diana's marriage. Lots of people will never forgive her for that. A good friend of ours, the journalist Nina Mishkov, said, "Not my queen." We had a massive fight about it on my old GB News show, but. She's an intelligent woman, Camilla, and she's authentic and she's real. And she takes one look at Meghan and goes, I know exactly what's going on here. We've got a grifter. We've got a gold digger. We've got a narcissist. We've got a jumped up, talentless chancer. Yeah. And I think that's it. And then that's why Harry is so angry. And why I've been told Harry dictated, he literally wrote that statement attacking the book, because this guy is never acquainted with the truth. No one tells him the truth. No one stands up to him. He's been spoiled and overindulged for his whole life. And yeah, so Meghan brainwashed Harry. Well, I think that the evidence for that, Millard, right? Exhibit A makes it. So when Harry meets Meghan, he's the most popular member of the royal family, ahead even of Queen Elizabeth. He's a fun guy. He's had a bit of time in the military. I respect anyone that served in the military, even if it's Harry, who was protected by his colleagues. It doesn't matter. He's faced more peril than perhaps you or I have.
Correct.
In the line of duty. And he drank a beer and he chased girls and he was just a character. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because he's since complained about being the spare. Well, I would argue that he loved being spare for a long time because he had so much more freedom than his brother William, who's had this albatross of one day being king around his neck since he was born. So what happens? He's a popular royal. He's having fun. Bit of a war hero. And then bang, Meghan comes in. Suddenly, he hates his family. He hates being a royal. He detests the institution and the traditions of the monarchy. He can't stand his country. All the press are a bunch of racists out to get him. And he leaves the United Kingdom and goes to California. So if that's not somebody that has been brainwashed, someone that's been got at, someone that's been mentally infiltrated, I don't know what is.
I would argue that he's just a man in love. So he's not been brainwashed. It's just he all of his emotions are now channeled around Meghan Markle and whatever he can do to make her feel number one and for her to feel secure and for her to feel protected. Is Harry not just a young man? Well, not young anymore. He's just a man in love. That's it.
I think that when a controlling narcissist, someone with a pathology like Meghan Markle, does her best work, it manifests as love. It feels like love. It is the sort of avatar of love. It's a hologram. It's not real. What I view Meghan to have done is to have identified the perfect victim. And this is somebody, because what does Meghan want? Well, she wants control. She wants fame. She wants power. She wants money. The control element, a personality like Meghan, if she was just a regular person working in a supermarket in the checkout aisle of Sainsbury's or Co-op. I don't know, Co-op, Sainsbury's? Any preference?
Sainsbury's for me.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
I think so. You have to wear a stab vest at Co-op, don't you? You got to be streetwise.
Co-op is dangerous.
Yeah, I go in with a body cam in the old Co-op because it's edgy, it's dicey.
It's weird though seeing you walk into Co-op completely naked but with just a body cam.
Yes, I know. It raises eyebrows, and in winter it's not a good look for me. But JJ, if she was an ordinary person, and but with that personality type that she has, then the guy that she's with, then she would seek somebody to control, and that's what she's done. What she's done with Harry, she's got the lottery, which is he's emotionally damaged. He's a fragile person. So she's identified that weakness. Obviously, he lost his mother when he was 12. Our heart goes out to him. It's a tragedy. It's a massive trauma. He follows his mother's hearse down the Mall, which we can all agree was an unedifying sight, should never have happened. So the guy's got issues. He's a damaged person. PTSD, all the rest of it. And Meghan has got the perfect victim because she's somebody that can make him feel like she's going to fill that gap. She's going to heal the wounds. She's going to be Diana 2.0. And yes, you're so right. When they met, he was head over heels in love. It's my understanding that he just couldn't compute how amazing she was. Plus lust. Yeah. He's a Windsor. They have a libido. They love a lady. Going all the way back to Prince Philip, who, let's be clear, was no angel.
Yeah.
So, and Andrew, that's a whole chapter, isn't it?
Oh, that's another episode.
That's a whole book. So what you've got is she's identified a slightly damaged person, and that's the perfect victim for her. The love bombing. You're amazing. Telling him everything he wants to hear. What does she get? She gets the titles. She gets the fame. She gets the money. But the moment the ring's on the finger, that's how it works with controlling narcissists. Once you've taken the bait, once they start to reel you in, then the love bombing stops. Now, it's my understanding. You said in love. Yes, at the time. Until Meghan got what he needed. And now the love taps have been turned off because it was never real. It was manipulation. It was a game. It was Meghan's hustle. And certainly according to the whole army of people I've spoken to who know Harry well, and have either been cut off by him or are still broadly in touch. This guy is unrecognisable from the Harry that they knew. Tom Bower's new book points out, as we pointed out on the show, that he doesn't talk to his old friends anymore. And the royal butler, Grant Harold, who knows the family so well, said that's one of the most shocking things about Harry post-Megxit is that he's not in touch with his friends. He was the most sociable guy. And I think Meghan started, I don't want to labour the point, JJ, but, what does someone want to do if they want to control you? They take you away from your family. They control your money. She controls his public image because he's got no Instagram or social media. She decides when he goes online and what we see. They control your geography. He's not even in his country of birth. So I think Tom Bower's book demonstrates everything that we've thought, which is this is not a marriage. It's a hostage situation. Harry is miserable and he's slowly waking up to the idea that he's made a massive mistake. The problem he's got is where to go from here, because it could be that damage is done.
Well, staying on the book, one of the other revelations is that William and Kate felt threatened by Meghan. They never saw her as an ally, and they did not like the impact she had on Harry.
Well, that's right. They've seen what's happened to this guy, and that's where we go back to the brainwashing, that this guy has been, he's Meghan's useful idiot. He's like the host cell to the Meghan mind virus, to which there is no cure. My husband! I call him H. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And it reminds me of, do you remember the snake in the Jungle Book?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the twirly whirly eyes.
Yeah.
That is Meghan. Okay. In fact, it gives snakes a bad name. And so William and Catherine saw it too. They saw the change and they couldn't believe it. And William's a smart guy, and he said that what's happening here with this actress lady of yours, it's all happening too quickly. It's too fast. Well, that's another move, by the way, from a grifter, from someone that's controlling, is to move fast, for it to be a whirlwind. Why? Well, it's a bit like when you're being conned. I don't know if you've ever had a confidence trickster. It happens quickly. Everything's quick now. Got to do everything yesterday. Bang, bang, bang. Send me the money. Here's my account details. Urgent, urgent. I think Meghan used momentum because it was a whirlwind. It was just a matter of months, really, before the big decisions were made. So William and Catherine saw it. They didn't like this woman. They saw through her because they're smart, intelligent people that were not infected with the Meghan mind virus. And the other thing is that it's not only William who told Harry this is happening too quickly. I hate to speak positively about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Oh, then don't.
Because he's an absolute piece of work.
Yeah.
But even that idiot, right? He's the broken clock that's at least right twice a day.
Yeah.
And even that idiot, Andrew, said that to Harry, you need to do your due diligence on this woman. You need to check her out.
How ironic, says the man who's friends with the paedophile.
How ironic. But why? Well, because I would argue Andrew knows girls like Meghan. Right? Andrew has seen girls like that a gazillion times. The ones who are there for the fame, there for the gravy train, for the free ride, for the meal ticket. And I think Andrew's basically pulled over his young nephew and said, hey, big guy, I know what these chicks are like. And you need to get this one checked out because I know their game. And I think for Meghan, it is a game. It's very transactional. And Tom Bower's book is a big, big headache for the couple because it further damages their brand. The Netflix stuff has all but disappeared. The charities are a hot mess. They've scaled right back. They can't call themselves philanthropists anymore. That's just not true. Then the royal stuff, all the military stuff for Harry is gone. It's like, what are they for? The couple are in trouble. And I almost think this book from Tom Bower is the final nail in the coffin. And if Harry's so worried about what's in the book, and if Tom Bower is such a fantasist, well, then why don't you sue him? Because Harry loves suing people. But he won't, because it's all true.
Jeez. Well, let's move on to Keir Starmer, the man who just keeps on making us look like idiots as British citizens. He is refusing to help Trump in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump said, that we should all get together and protect this strait so we can lower our oil prices.
Yep.
And yet, it's almost as if Starmer is proud that he has snubbed Trump.
It's amazing, isn't it? We're all having to quickly get up to speed on the Middle East.
Yeah.
Right? The geography, the politics, right? I thought the Strait of Hormuz was a pub in East London. I think it is. And they have a happy hour on Thursday, 5 till 7. But the bottom line is that this Strait of Hormuz matters to us, as you say, because what's it about? It's about putting petrol in your car. That's gone through the roof.
Yeah.
And, of course, the energy bills, all the rest of it, especially when that reduction that was introduced by Rishi Sunak, the price cap, when that's lifted, all hell will break loose. So they've extended that now to the summer. Okay, well, that's not even going to touch the sides. Are you telling me this is all going to be done and dusted by July?
Doubtful.
I don't think so. And when you're the Prime Minister, you've got a few things that you've got to do, haven't you? You've got to police the national boundaries of the country. Well, we've not done that with the boats. You have to keep law and order on the streets. Well, anyone who lives in a big city in our great country will tell you we ain't got law and order.
Correct.
And the other thing you've got to do is you must preserve the special relationship. But that's the gig. Every Prime Minister inherits the same gig, which is to have a great relationship with whoever is president. And, you know, fair play to Blair, who was far from perfect. We can all agree about that. He's got someone back in the day, George W. Bush, not his ideological soulmate. Worth remembering, George W. Bush, big Republican, big conservative, Tony Blair, a Labour Prime Minister. But Tony Blair understood how strategically significant that relationship was. And yes, there's a big case to answer about the Gulf War. The problem I've got with the Gulf War is that we were lied to about the reasons for doing it. And the weapons of mass destruction was a political device. And I think anybody that thought that Saddam Hussein was a threat to world peace and had these awful weapons that could kill hundreds of thousands of people, well, then that's a good war. It wasn't true. It was, of course, cooked up by Alistair Campbell, the sexed up dossier. We don't need a dossier on Iran. It is the most wicked regime arguably since the Third Reich, the biggest sponsor of terror in the world. We know that in just recent months, JJ, they've killed 30 to 40,000 of their own people for protesting the regime. A woman was murdered for not wearing a hijab correctly.
Yep.
But it goes beyond that. There are 2 to 3 million people who have died at the hands of the old Ayatollah since he came to power in the late 80s. These are wicked people, so we don't need a dossier. And we also know that they are relatively close to having nuclear weapons. The legacy of this war, now this war is not perfect like any, but militarily it's been very successful so far. I think the Americans are surprised that the Iranians have weaponized the Strait of Hormuz so enthusiastically. And it is a headache. And he's now asking for help from China, from the United Kingdom, from France, from Japan. And it is a bit of a crunch point in the war. And I will say that Donald Trump has made a massive gamble, but not as big a gamble as Starmer by turning his back on the United States of America.
Precisely. You think Starmer's finished now, perhaps by Trump? Because Trump has said,
Yeah.
We're not going to forget it. If you don't come and help us, we're not going to forget this.
No. I mean, Donald Trump is transactional. He's a deal maker. He's an entrepreneur. That's how he thinks. That's how he ticks. And he likes to do business with people. And he's got the memory of an elephant.
Why do you think Starmer won't just send the ships? Send the warships going?
Well, I think there's several reasons. I think he's absolutely in the pocket of the British Muslim community, which is increasingly becoming a very anti-Israel left-wing bloc vote, which is a little bit scary because as that constituency grows, well, then what does that mean for the future of our country and our democracy?
Yeah.
So I think that's one reason he's politically compromised. Don't forget, he addressed a group of British Muslims at Westminster Hall a couple of weeks ago and said, I really want you to know, he said it very nervously, I really want you to know we weren't involved in the early stages of this war. All America wanted. He's such a manipulator of language. He said that we did not become, actively involved in the war. That's not what Donald Trump asked for. He asked for access to our bases to refuel. That is not sending planes and munitions.
Yeah.
So Starmer has worked massively against the national interest. And it's interesting because just in the last couple of days, quite a few journalists have really, really come out very strongly against Starmer now about his character. You've got Dan Hodges, who historically is on the left, right? At the Mail on Sunday, not a frothing right-winger by any stretch.
Yeah.
And he's actually said Number 10 leaned on him to suppress, the Prime Minister's messaging, to suppress his analysis. And essentially it's please don't call the Prime Minister a liar. And this weekend, all bets are off now. The gloves are off, and Hodges has decided that he is a liar. He's gone to press on that. And I've got a killer little passage for you. And this is from the Sunday Times this weekend. And it's about the people that have worked with Starmer and know him best, right? Check this out. Cabinet ministers and number 10 advisors strained for loyalty towards Starmer, but it proved too difficult for some. He is, said one influential aide upon their departure from Downing Street, the least intellectually curious person I've ever met. Another politician, upon whom Starmer relied heavily, said, he can only prepare by reading briefing books for hours on end. He doesn't brainstorm. He has no fixed views on anything. There's no clarity because there's no belief. There's no belief because there's no understanding. There's no understanding because there's no curiosity. They go on to say, a senior civil servant who's watched Starmer very close by has said he's not a compassionate man. He's careless about people around him. He's just not warm. He just doesn't think very hard about other people. And another one said, I don't think he has a theory of power. I don't think he's ever sat down and read any history or has any idea of how power works. I just don't think he would be attracted to the kind of historic figures who got stuff done. I mean, this is from Starmer loyalists. People have been around him. His inner team. Not a nice man, not a compassionate man, and not a wise man by tearing up the special relationship. Now, if I was Prime Minister, I would send every single boat you can get over to the Strait of Hormuz. Starmer talks about, I'm going to help people with the cost of living. Okay. Well, all his policies are inflationary, right? Inflation-busting pay rises in the public sector, more borrowing, more debt, feeding the cult of welfareism. That last budget was a pay rise for people that don't work and a pay cut for our viewers on the Daily Expresso who do work and pay their taxes. Incredible moment for me, just on a private note, a couple of days ago. I'm on the phone to EE getting my getting the old tariff updated after a couple of years. By some miracle, it's gone down. And how that happened. And I had the lady from Glasgow, she's in a call centre, and she said how hard her life is financially, right? And she volunteered this conversation. And she was talking about the taxes. She said they're putting the taxes up and nothing's getting better. It's the first time in my adult life I've heard someone at the bottom end of the economic ladder talking about taxes. Because normally when it's complaints about taxes, it's the middle classes and those aspiring. But this is a woman, she works for EE in the call centre. She's not going to be on big bucks. No. And even she's feeling the tax burden. And that is a big problem. So Starmer, he's annoyed Trump. Trump won't forget. Britain is less safe with this Prime Minister. So Keir Starmer is a liar. He's a provable liar. He's a duplicitous man. But Sir Keir Starmer is dangerous. He's a dangerous leader because with the ideology of net zero, his policies threaten our energy security. And as we've discovered, energy security is national security. With his policies, he's putting people out of work. Unemployment is back. But we had pretty much ended unemployment in this country. Under his leadership, we've got a war on free speech, the scrapping of jury trials, which have been great for 800 years. So that's dangerous for our justice. This is a guy who deep down believes in open borders, right? You could stop the boats, and Farage, when he gets in, will. He doesn't want to. That's dangerous because we don't know who these people are. The list goes on. So Keir Starmer, without being too dramatic about it, he's a clear and present danger to the people of this country. He's got to go.
Do you think he's traitorous against Trump?
Oh, my God. I mean, does the Pope have mild Catholic leanings? When a bear is carrying a heavy load and needs to relieve himself, does he do it in the woods? I mean, for God's sakes, yes. And listen, we know Donald Trump's not perfect. And I will say this war in Iran is an enormous gamble. But the UK just backs America. It's what we do. And I think particularly with this regime, like I've said, we went to war on a lie in Iraq. Well, there's no lie about Iran. We know they're wicked. And it's a shame, really, for Starmer, because if he'd gone all in with Trump, then he could already claim to have helped dismantle and disarm the worst regime since that of Adolf Hitler, which is what the lefties won't tell you this, but the Iranian regime is the same as the Nazis, They call America the Great Satan. We're the little Satan, basically like Scrappy-Doo to America's Scooby-Doo. Don't know about you, I feel like Scrappy-Doo ruined that franchise.
Yes.
That's another conversation. Puppy power! Jesus, sack the intern that came up with that one. But that's what so he could have claimed, Starmer, he's mindful of his legacy because he knows he'll be gone by late summer. That's very clear. His legacy could have been, see, when you're in power, you weren't prime minister for long, but what did you achieve? And he said, well, I helped disarm the Iranian regime. So there are conservatives who are freaking out a bit about what's happening in Iran. They think that Donald Trump has been very incoherent, that we were told it was regime change, then it's not regime change. It seems that they've been a victim of their own success because when they took out Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, that they were happy about that, except that there was a room full of other blokes that Trump thought were appropriate to run Iran, who he could do business with, who were also killed. And then all you're left with the extremist nutter son, who it appears to be more of a hardliner and more pro-nuclear power than his old man. So, they've had some strategic issues. The Americans are shocked by what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. But can I just get back to the essence of this? You always got to look at what are people's motivations, right? What are the incentives? Why I think this is a noble war, and this is something that you implied when you joined me on my Talk TV show, which, by the way, blew the roof off. It went down a storm. Great
time.
And what we discussed, is it a noble war? It's a messy war, but Donald Trump has no skin in the game. This is a politician who's decided to go after Iran. There are no votes in it. And it's not just that, it's going to increase inflation in America. And his big thing was cost of living when he came in. The MAGA base are not happy because they want America first. And then
no war.
No foreign wars.
Yeah.
So it's quite admirable that Donald Trump is doing things which are against his own interests. He's not making money from this. He's not getting votes. And even J.D. Vance, his Veep, has gone very quiet since the war started because he may be distancing himself, thinking this is a hot mess and I want to be president next time.
Yeah.
And I think, therefore, Trump is showing courage. And the fact that he's doing this with no discernible advantage to him politically tells me that it's the right thing to do. And it puts paid to the idea of bad orange man. If Trump is doing stuff that doesn't help his own political cause, that's very rare in a politician. We've not seen that since Thatcher. We've not seen it since Churchill. Because what do those three people have in common? A willingness to be unpopular, to do the right thing.
Well, I think this is going to finish Starmer in the eyes of Trump. I think it is treacherous and traitory from Starmer to Trump and Britain to the US.
Yeah.
And I think this is the beginning of the end for NATO. I think Trump will get the countries he wants helping him, and he's going to punish NATO and say, when we needed you, you guys weren't there. We're taking all of our billions out. You guys look after yourself from now on. That's what I predict.
That is 100% right. And I think the UN has become the biggest joke and the greatest irrelevance as well.
Yeah, completely irrelevant now.
It's a talking shop, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's pointless.
Do you know what they should do? That UN building, right? It's in New York, isn't it? They should gut it and make it the world's largest Weatherspoons.
Now that would be useful.
Yeah,
that would be good.
And then what you do is you've got the guy, the brilliant old lads that go into the Weatherspoons.
Yeah.
Right, and they've got long beards and all that, and let them run the world.
They can't do any worse.
They're good. They're good men. They read the Daily Express.
Of course.
They drink Old Speckled Hen and Timothy Taylor, Landlord. And they do have. This is why I love. I love. Sort of. Just like when I do Talk TV and I take calls, the public get it. I mean, something I'm hearing over and over again is that we've got to take out the establishment, JJ. In this country, it's the Tories, it's Labour. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Nigel is going to face major problems if he becomes Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I don't think reform of the finished article one bit. But there needs to be change. And I think it is the whole establishment. It's the public sector. It's all of the wokery. And the Bank of England, every part of our sort of public society that you look at, it's failing the country.
Yeah. Except for here on the Daily Expresso, we will never fail you. And on that bombshell, Mr. D, I think I'm going to call it a day, mate.
The only thing I feel a bit bad because I was very vague about Meghan Markle. Next time,
You weren't vague.
I'll tell you what I really think.
Marky Mark, thank you so
Thanks.
much. Leave your comments below. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe. And most importantly today, I want you to hit this hype button. Hit it now. It helps more people see the show. Thank you and bye-bye.